name is Jeff. I am a chef, and this is the Texas Flavor Kitchen. I have my baked ziti going in the oven. The oven's already hot. Why not make a side dish that also uses the oven to pair with my baked ziti? Well, it so happens that I got a ton of squash. I'm not kidding, like 10 plus pounds of squash sitting right here on the table that I got this past weekend up in Arkansas. My uncle grows it. Gave me a lot, maybe too much. So I was thinking I could take that squash, I'm going to mix that with some white beans and a little bit of spinach, and then turn that into sort of a Tuscan casserole. Alright, so I was up in Arkansas this past weekend, and my uncle there has a very nice garden, and he gave me a bunch of squash. This is maybe less than a quarter of what he gave me, so I need to use it up, right? So to pair with my baked ziti that I'm doing, I wanted to do sort of a Tuscan, is chop my squash down into little cubes. So thinking about like that, because I'm going to be putting these Great Northern beans, or you use cannellini beans, I'm not really sure if there's much difference. I want everything to be kind of the same size when I'm finished cooking it, right? That way you can get a bite of everything with each bite. So for the big piece, always being safe, you're going to put your flat side on the cutting board, right? And then I'm going to just cut that into a few strips. The middle piece might need to get cut. You don't have to be perfect, you know, you can, it is Tuscan, you can call it rustic, rustico, you know. You don't have to be a snooty chef about it, getting all the same size. Just show you kind of what I'm thinking and how I would do it. But you're up to your own devices when you're in the kitchen. Alright, so I'll probably do, that's probably about half as much as I'm going to make. So I'll do maybe this other squash there in a moment. I've got these fresh spring onions, only 99 cents for all that. So the green tops I'm going to use to garnish in the end, because they've got a beautiful color and a very bright, fresh, bit of a pungent flavor. And these white bottoms here, I'm going to go ahead and chop those down about the same size as my beans and my squash. So we'll say quarters. That root, a little bit hard, I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. That'll make me a little bit easier to quarter them, right? So again, that's root off, stand straight up, and then we quarter. Alright, so in case you're not familiar with how to slice your scallions, green onions, whatever you want to call them, you just want to kind of hold them together like a pile of logs, and just try to get a nice good slice there, thin pieces. Again, you can keep it as rustic as you want. People appreciate the fact that you're putting the ingredient in there, and I think that does it enough justice without worrying about presentation. And you can hear my oven timer going off. Here's a tip. If you're worried about your health and you don't really like eating bacon, can't do much for you as far as taking the fat away. You can get a more expensive cut, the center cut bacon, got a little bit more meat. This is a pretty meaty bacon actually. But as far as the preservatives, you can either get uncured bacon that doesn't have the sodium nitrite, which can potentially cause heart issues. But you can also use regular bacon if you chop it up as I am, and then you just blanch it in some water. So you would put this in a little saucepan, cover it with water, and let it simmer for a good 5 to 10 minutes. That'll not only help leach out some of those preservatives, meaning they'll be getting rid of it for you, but also that helps to render that fat down, and then when you go to cook the bacon in a pan, it will cook much faster, and that fat will come out more quickly. You'll end up with a nice, leaner bacon that has less preservatives in it. Got summer squash, some spring onions, both the white and green chopped up. Got bacon. I've got Great Northern beans, salt and pepper. I've got some spinach, in a little frozen spinach, defrosting, a little water there. And of course, extra virgin olive oil. Simple side dish that'll pair beautifully with my baked ziti. So to start, I'm going to use a technique you might not have seen before. I'm just using regular store-bought bacon, and I don't want the entire dish to have that cured, salty, bacony, especially if I get it a little overcooked, right? And it's going to just weigh everything down. So this is a technique that I learned from Julia Child's cookbook. Let's take that bacon, put it in a small saucepan, and I'm just going to cover it with water. And I'm just going to let that simmer slowly for about 10 minutes. Alright, so just covered in water. Pulling out this bacon that I've decured, uncured, whatever you want to call that. Get my saute pan nice and hot. Strain my bacon, get all that water off. Remember, I did that to get rid of some of that cured smoky flavor and also to help start rendering out that fat. I'm going to go ahead and chop some Italian flat leaf parsley. Chop that nice and small. That's just going to be a garnish along with my green onion that I've already chopped. Very fragrant, almost kind of lemony. And you could actually finish this with a little lemon juice at the end if you want to, or even a little white wine vinegar, depending on whether you want a little acid or not. We'll decide that in the end. Alright, so some nice finely chopped parsley, and then trying to make everything as healthy as possible. Here, my baking on in the background. Go ahead and toss that around. So trying to get this as healthy as possible, right? I've got some frozen spinach that I just added a little water to and defrosted in the microwave for about 30 seconds. I want to squeeze all the water out. Now you can buy finely chopped organic spinach frozen, and that's what I prefer to use, but sometimes you just grab the cheap stuff and it's not quite finely chopped as you'd like it. Especially if you got kids, probably don't want big giant leaves of spinach to try to chew through. So I defrost it, squeeze all the water out, and then I'm just going to chop it as finely as I can. It'll make a big difference in the final product. Alright, so got my pan on medium. See my bacon rendering out nicely. In a second, you know what, I'll go ahead and add a little bit of this good olive oil. Beautiful. Alright, so I've got my olive oil, my bacon in the pan. The bacon is rendered out, starting to get crispy. So I am ready to start adding my ingredients. We're going to start with the spring onion bulbs that I've quartered. Kind of nice and big, robust. Some amazing smell. I can already smell it. And good flavor. Go ahead and get my pan nice and hot. Big pan, small burner, so I'm really cranking it up almost all the way up to high. Once you start seeing just a little bit of color on those onions, salt to get it going. Now I'm ready to add the squash. The squash is the star of the dish here, so I'm adding quite a bit. Just about like that. And a little bit more salt, a little bit of pepper. What I really want is for the onions and the squash to get a little bit of brown on them, a little bit of color. Alright, so our pan is up on medium-high, starting to get some color on that squash, getting it soft. I'm ready to add my spinach. can add more or less spinach depending on your own taste and nutritional objectives. So I'll add my white beans, cannellini beans. And I'll go ahead and add some of my green onion. The rest of that pepper in, the rest of my salt. Alright, everything is looking like it's cooked down as much as it needs to be. And go ahead and turn that off. There's enough residual heat in the pan that everything's going to get nice and tender without getting mushy. I'm just going to finish. Got a little white wine vinegar. I'm thinking it needs, probably going to need a little acid, just a little spritz. You can add fresh squeezed lemon juice as well, or instead. We'll toss it with some fresh Italian parsley. And when I plate it, I'm going to finish with some freshly grated Romano cheese.